Hey everyone, welcome to another dividend stock investing video. I want to cover in the video today a core dividend stock, one of my top 10 core favorite dividend stocks that is tanking in share price. It's now in value territory, and I want to explain why this stock is falling so much. This company makes 55,000 products. It's a company that I have been averaging into over the years, and it seems every year or so they keep facing some setbacks. But as a long-term dividend stock investor, I look at these as opportunities to accumulate more shares. And quite frankly, I don't mind if this stock trades sideways for even more years, for 10 years, 15 years. I don't mind that, because I'm accumulating for long-term cash flow. If you haven't guessed by now, I'm talking about 3M Company, makers of this Scotch Blue painter's tape. Also, you may not know, but Scotch makes scissors as well. These are really good. I'm going to talk about 3M Company in the video today. I'm going to do some financial analysis. I want to talk about a lawsuit that is causing them a lot of troubles. Get ready, everyone, for a really exciting video. Welcome to PPC Ian. This is dividend stock investing for everyone. All right, everyone, if you love dividend stock investing as much as me, please go ahead and smash the like button. This is actually the second time I'm filming this video here. This video, I just didn't like how it turned out the first time around. And so your support, the comments, the likes, the subscriptions, it does mean the world. Also, a fun fact, this is the first video on my main YouTube channel from our new place here in the greater Boise, Idaho area. I'm excited about that. And patrons, you already know, check out the pinned comment below for my Patreon. I already filmed a nearly 30-minute video about life insurance, and I shared a lot of thoughts about life insurance and whole life insurance over on my Patreon. You can check that out in the pinned comment below. That was on my corner tier of Patreon. Without further ado, I want to jump into 3M, and I want to explain why the stock is tanking. So as you can see on the screen in front of you right now, we're going to talk about something a little sensitive today. So I want to add the disclaimer up front that I'm not trying to take sides in the video, and I want to be respectful of all parties because there is a lawsuit here against 3M, and this one is coming from Army veterans. And so first and foremost, God bless all of our Army veterans, all of our service members throughout the world who are keeping us safe. That is amazing. Your service is truly, truly appreciated. And also I want to add up front that my heart goes out to anyone facing any kind of medical issue. And so with that, what's happening with 3M right now is basically they're facing a lawsuit. In fact, they've had a number of lawsuits. There's over 300,000 service members and other parties who are suing 3M because they are alleging that these protective devices, these earplugs, are actually not protecting their ears, and they're facing hearing loss from loud noises that allegedly the earplugs were supposed to protect them from. And so recently, there was an announcement that in Florida, two veterans of the Army were each awarded $55 million, or a total of $110 million, because they alleged that the earplugs that 3M was providing via the military were not protecting them. And in fact, they were facing hearing loss. And so they were awarded $15 million each in compensatory damages, which is damages, the cost, I guess, of the equivalent value of the damage that they faced, and then $40 million punitive each, which is basically money that is to penalize 3M for any wrongdoing they allegedly did. And so I've been researching this a bit, and one thing I would say up front that I think we need to understand a lot more that I don't have the answer to is, were these earplugs being provided via the military, and were they marketed in a way where they would always protect the ears from ear damage from very loud noises that could come about in combat? That's one fact that I don't know the answer to, but that would be something really important to understand. And if you know the answer, please put that in the comments below, especially if you have experience with these types of earplugs. Maybe you are in the military, or you're a veteran of the military. Please go ahead and share in the comments below if you have any understanding of how these earplugs were marketed to folks out there who are doing duty in combat. And so that's one thing that I think is important to understand about them. And I think the other thing is just, I think it would be important to understand if the people using the earplugs were provided adequate training to use them properly. And so there's a lot of moving parts here. This is a very sensitive topic. This is one where, honestly, boy, we want to do everything as a society, and we want companies around the world to do everything they can to protect our service members who are risking their lives for everyone out there to keep us all safe. And so that's the news that's going on. And so with that, I want to share some stock information, and then I want to get into my thoughts and how I'm kind of looking at this as a long-term investor. And so first and foremost, as you can see in front of you right now, here is some basic stock information, and you can see some charts. Over the last year, it's down. It's up a little bit from the low. It's at 166 now, as low as 163. But you can see over the long term, it's up and to the right. But over the last, say, number of years, it's been, struggling a little bit and trading sideways, trending down a little bit. More or less, the long-term trend is intact, but short-term, it's been a little troubling. And when I look at something like that as a dividend investor, I like that. It gives me an opportunity to accumulate more shares at better prices, get more yield on my dollars invested, and I'm investing for cash flow. I never plan to sell, and so I look for companies like this that have extended periods of turnaround and have some troubles, and I enjoy accumulating them during those cycles. And so I don't care if a stock is down from where I bought it a year ago, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years. I look in order of decades, and certainly even 1 decade's kind of short. I'm looking more like 2, 3, 4 decades, what's happening. And so anyway, it's trading right now based on forward earnings estimates from the analysts at a 2022 forward PE of 15.98, 14.98 next year. I would say this is solid value territory, if not getting closer to deep value. I think deep value would be down at a PE of 13, maybe 12, maybe lower 14s. It would kind of be there. But I'd say it's a solid value, if not approaching deep value. I love the starting dividend yield of 3.57%. I love the payout ratio of 57%. Gives them room to increase the dividend. I honestly think they should increase the dividend here. I think that's something important for them to do. Market cap is 93 billion, so it's not a huge company. The last dividend increase was only 1 penny, and so the 5-year compound annual growth rate on the dividend is only 5.9% only. I think that's still really solid, but it would be even higher if that last increase were more. I think they were slow on the last increase because we're coming out of the pandemic and they were being cautious. I do hope that 3M at this time, at least next time or next few times, increases the dividend at a higher clip. And I think they can afford to do so. And it's something they should think about doing for the shareholders. So that's a snapshot of where we're at. I've gone through this company so many times at length. I love the fact that they're well diversified across 55,000 products. They touch the aerospace industry, technology industry. We know the government sector now as well, because we know from the topic of today that they are selling those earplugs to the Army. Unfortunately, in this particular case, it is being alleged that things went really wrong. But long story short, they're a very diversified company, and they have their hand in many innovative ways in many industries. And so let's go. I got a few notes, and I'm going to get to the good stuff now. So as you can see on the screen in front of you right now, I want to talk about some thoughts. First and foremost, I don't have the answers here. I take calculated risk as an investor. I diversify as an investor. I invest in world-class companies often that are facing challenges because there is no free lunch. But if the challenge, I believe, can be overcome, I like to invest because that is when I can uncover value and get to financial freedom and get more cash flow quicker. And so my first thought, is this a lawsuit that's kind of like a Johnson & Johnson lawsuit, which is somewhat manageable? And I'm not trying to, again, put down anyone who is alleging J&J has caused them medical challenges because there are allegations against J&J for talc powder and also for the opioid epidemic. And so my heart goes out to anyone facing medical challenges. But what I'm trying to say here is it seems J&J has these under control somewhat, meaning it's an ongoing issue that's part of the company operations, legal related stuff. And long story short, it's part of their business at this point. It's just managing the risk and managing the lawsuits. And so my question is, these lawsuits coming against 3M, is it kind of like J&J where it's just part of business? Or is it more like a USG? If you haven't heard of USG, that's US Gypsum Company, and they were slammed, this was a while ago, but with asbestos issues. And so they were making the fiberboard, like the sheetrock and other building materials that allegedly had asbestos. Long story short, it caused some real challenges at that company. And eventually I think they went bankrupt. And so, but then they were, I believe, bought out of bankruptcy or something like that. Long story short, what I'm trying to communicate here is, are these lawsuits from 3M manageable business operations as normal or knockout punch? And I think as investors, we need to figure that out. So please put in the comments below, what do you think? I would love to know your opinion. I'll tell you mine. I think it's going to be business, ongoing operations. It's going to be something that's just part of business going forward. And so as you can see on the screen in front of you right now, the next thought I have is, look, they make 55,000 products. Oh my goodness, this huge lawsuit, $55 million verdict per person. That's only one of their products. Who knows what kind of risks lie in the other 40 or the other 54,999 products. Oh my goodness. And this just goes to show that one little risk can become a big, big deal. And so this is why I diversify. I like to diversify because the stock market carries risk. I spoke with my patrons recently about some ways in which I diversify completely out of the stock market. But even within the stock market, I diversify. I own a lot of companies. Now you all know why I own a lot of companies. Is, oh my goodness, one product out of their 55,000 products creates an awful lot of risk. Let's keep going. As you can see in front of you right now on the screen, I personally believe it's more like a J&J lawsuit, and I'm not trying to make light of those. Those are serious allegations, serious lawsuits, but J&J is managing them. And as such, I'm a buyer of 3M and I'm a buyer of J&J here. And ultimately, I hope that these companies can work with the plaintiffs alleging wrongdoing. They can work out solutions that make sense for everyone. I would say, as I already mentioned, this is an important point in the video today. I don't mind averaging into a stock with zero capital gains, even if I don't see any capital gains for 10 to 15 years. There's a lot of people in the stock market, and I get a lot of comments here. Ian, you bought something a year ago and it's down. Oh my goodness, how do you live with that? I love that. And what I'm saying is 1 year, that's just a fraction of a time in stock market years for me. I like to look at 10 plus years. And so I do look at a situation like this as an opportunity. And one thing I would say here, I'm going to get into a little bit of kind of political commentary later, and I think it's all related because I'm seeing a trend where large companies are under attack a bit. And I'm not alleging that these service members are doing that or anything like that, but what I'm just saying in general, society these days, juries out there, politicians, media, there's kind of a negative feeling against companies. But what I want to impart on the community and hopefully the world through this YouTube video a little bit is we should also celebrate companies because, yeah, sometimes companies make mistakes and they cause issues. That's undeniable. I own companies in the oil sector who have faced issues like that before, and they have paid for them handsomely. But what I would also say is companies can do a lot of good, and they do a lot of good. They employ people. They create tax revenue. They fulfill dreams. They let people work on a craft that they're particularly skilled at. They create products like this that help people all over the world paint their houses. But on a more serious note, 3M produces all kinds of products for the aerospace industry that keeps us all safe when we're flying, and that's really important. How many lives have they saved that way? 3M makes Thinsulate, which keeps us all warm. That's a product that's used in shoes and in clothing to keep us warm. It's needed right here in Idaho in the wintertime where it's a little cooler, and so 3M has done so much good. And I just think sometimes the media harps on these types of news stories, and I think politicians do as well. There was a politician came out today saying that the reason there's inflation is because of corporate greed and price gouging from corporations. Obviously, I disagree with that statement, so I had to put my thoughts on Twitter, as you can see in front of you right there. Check me out on Twitter. But I do think that's an important layer of the video today, that I am a firm believer that corporations are great, and we have a nation because of great corporations, and we certainly don't want to destroy corporations, but we want to make sure everyone is treated fairly. And certainly maybe there's a solution here that works for, assuming that these allegations are true, that would work for the corporation and those making the allegations. But obviously we don't know at this time. It's too early to tell who is right, who is wrong. We just don't know. The courts will determine that, and ultimately I think this case will probably be appealed and potentially be settled. Who knows what will happen? We'll have to follow it. But that being said, I want to share a model with all of you, because I think the model shows why is this stock tanking just so much, and it's pretty illuminating. So as you can see in front of you right now, I have some basics about the case. We know that there was a $110 million verdict. We also know there have been some other similar cases where 3M has been successful against the plaintiffs. In this particular case, it was $55 million per plaintiff. And so what I also read is there's 300,000 service members and others who have sued 3M claiming hearing loss. Again, my question is, anyone who's used these earplugs, do you have any kind of insights? I'd be curious if they actually put like a guarantee that these earplugs will perform at a certain level. Is there like an SLA or a service level agreement with these particular earplugs? Because that I don't know. How were they marketed, or what was the kind of threshold, the decibels that they're supposed to protect against, and how are they supposed to be used? I think that all has to be figured out. I'm sure they discussed that in the court with this particular case. I would hope so. I haven't reviewed those files at all, and so I would be curious. Put in the comments below if you have any insights there. But as you can see in front of you right now, what's happening, I did a what if analysis, and I just said, okay, 55 million's the award, but we know that'll probably get downgraded. And so I have a bunch of different scenarios: 30 million, 20 million, 10 million, 5 million, even 1 million. And then I say, well, hey, 300,000 are potentially suing them. Let's say it's awarded to half of them, 150,000. And so I just do the multiplication of both. What's 55 million times 150,000? Well, we get to $8.25 trillion. And so obviously $8.25 trillion is a lot more money than 3M has, because their market cap is only 93 billion. And we know the market cap is not just cash. We know they have assets, they have liabilities, which would create book value. If we subtract liabilities from assets, we get book value or shareholders' equity. Is their shareholders' equity going to pay for trillions of dollars of damages? No, it would bankrupt the company. And then I start thinking, well, boy, we wouldn't have products like this anymore. We wouldn't have all of the safety products that are used in aerospace. We wouldn't have thin slate. We wouldn't have all the reflective coatings they produce that save many people from car accidents every day by making it more visible at night to see. And so, and that's something really important in this area as well, because at night there's not a lot of illumination from streetlights, and so you have to have very good vision, and it's important to have those reflective coatings that 3M makes to keep automotive drivers safe. And so you start thinking, boy, wouldn't it be a shame if this company were bankrupt? And so as you can see on the screen in front of you right now, I want to go through the cases. The next tier down, let's say it gets downgraded from 55 million to 30. We got 4.5 trillion in damages, 20 million, 3 trillion, 10 million, 1.5, so on and so forth. Even at $1 million per plaintiff, if it got to that for 100, and assuming half the plaintiffs got it, half got nothing, we would have $150 billion, which is more than their market cap, certainly more than their shareholders' equity. And so what I'm trying to illuminate through these numbers is this case is a little scary. And I don't know who's right or wrong. I don't know how these earplugs were marketed. I don't know what the SLA was, a service level agreement. I don't know that. I don't know, honestly, how members of the military were trained to use them. What were the training protocols, and were there supposed to be redundancy in addition to the earplug? Were they're supposed to have like ear muffs as well? Those ones like they use at the airport, were they supposed to have that or not? And what was the protocol? What were the members in the military trained on. And so there's a lot going on here, and it's complex, it's sensitive, but what I'm trying to say is this is why the stock is down. These are daunting numbers. And so as you can see in front of you right now, I have a few thoughts. I think certainly these numbers, back of the envelope math, show why the company is tanking. Realistically, I see the cases getting dragged out in court in perpetuity. It's going to be similar to J&J. It's going to be part of business. I think that's part of the society we're in now. I would say I hope logic plays a role here, and I hope that the company is able to work with the court and the jurors and the plaintiffs and basically work it out so that this company is still around, because I think they're doing an awful lot of good out there with all of the 55,000 products, maybe minus one. Maybe the earplugs are not the best product. I don't know, but there's 54,999 other products, but that's also another 54,999 opportunities of risk. Oh my goodness. And so theoretical risk here is large. I would say just one thing is, boy, companies may want to consider upping their payout ratios a little bit, because that's what the sin stocks did with a lot of lawsuits against sin stocks, which I also invest in. They've over the years upgraded their payout ratios just to get money off the books and into the shareholders' hands, making them a little less of a target. But it's interesting because there's a lot going on in society right now that serves as a backdrop for this. And I think it's hard enough to approach a sensitive case like this without all of that happening. But when you layer on kind of coming out of the pandemic and tweets from politicians about or conversations from politicians about greedy corporations and price gouging and this, that, and the other, it's a unique time to be an investor, and there's a unique amount of risks. And I think it's awfully important to diversify and to be a really educated investor, and to diversify not only stocks, but consider all of the asset classes that are available. It's about risk management. Dividend investing is as much about investing and gains and cash flow as it is about downside risk management as well. And so all of that is important. But let me know what you think in the comments section below. If you enjoyed the video today, please go ahead and smash the like button. It means the world for me, to especially, boy, I've filmed this thing twice now, and I've had to edit a little too here as it's getting late at night and I'm tired, and the move also is it's a busy time, of course, but I'm grateful for each and every one of you sticking in there and watching. And please don't forget to subscribe. And before I go, again, God bless all of our service members. Thank you for your service in the military, keeping all of us, our families, our society safe and free and healthy. And so that means the world. And so, of course, I'm not trying to talk down against these allegations, because it's a sensitive topic. It's serious stuff here. These are serious situations where people are putting their lives on the line for the rest of us. And I mean, that is amazing, a selfless act that these service members do. And so this is a serious thing here. I'm just trying to illustrate all of the ways of looking at it and all the facts, and I think all of us will see how this plays out over the long run. For the time being, I continue to average into 3M, and I don't see that changing. All right, everyone, before I leave today, in terms of a full disclosure, I am long 3M, ticker MMM. I'm also long Johnson & Johnson, ticker JNJ. In terms of a friendly disclaimer, today's video is not investment advice. I'm not a licensed investment advisor. Today's video is just for your fun and entertainment. If you're going to go out and invest in the stock market or anywhere else, please consult your licensed financial advisor first. I'm just sharing my journey here on YouTube for fun and entertainment. It's possible to lose a lot of money in the stock market. I think today's video is a perfect example of how volatility and risk exists. So it's really important to consult the experts. I'm just sharing my journey here for your entertainment. I love you all. I'll see you in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Oh.